is it transphobic to not want to date trans people? The answer is yes.
No, just because people aren't attracted to you doesn't make them any type of phobic, okay? There are plenty of straight men who are not attracted to me in the slightest. I don't think they're homophobic, they're just straight.
Now, is there an argument to be made that, like, the parts down there are something you don't like? I think that for 99% of the examples here, that's not the case, and that it really does stem from transphobia.
You have the audacity to say that in 99% of cases when somebody's not attracted to you, it's because they have a phobia against you? Really? Maybe they just have a preference based off of sex. Have we thought about that, or are we not allowed to have those preferences anymore? Because I personally wouldn't date somebody with female parts. Not because I have a phobia, but because I'm gay. You know, it's getting really exhausting when my sexuality is lumped into an alphabet with this, when this is literally at odds with my sexuality. Now, I believe everybody is entitled to their rights, but I'm not going to allow people to erase my sexuality in the name of ideology. I'm not.
For Pride Month this year, can straight people focus less on love is love and more on queer and trans people are in danger? Remember to make space for the heteros this month too. Yes, really. Lesbians who became straight men. Gay men who became straight women. All straight drag artists. Note that not all of them are cis. People with complex identities who thusly encompass multiple orientations, like gender fluid and multigender people who, yes, are sometimes straight or even simultaneously with other labels. Hetero and ace people, especially, seriously. People with fluid orientations. Gender nonconforming people who find joy in their straightness. Many queer people are also straight. Queerness is not solely reliant on gayness. These people, too, are a part of Pride. Remember that. All discourse attempts will be swiftly blocked. Exclusionists, fuck off. Homosexuality is not inclusive. That's it. That's the post. Your premise would mean love is all about genitals, a very hetero/homonormative perspective. You need to get over that, or we continue with folk looking at one half of the world and missing their one. People make love, not sex, and a lot of gay men can't resist a young, furry FTM cub. Evidently, I'm not the only homosexual out there who's realized that trans ideology is very much incompatible with homosexuality or gay rights. It's Pride Month, and we're being told to shut up and get out of the way because the queer, trans, gender fluid crowd, they're the ones who really need the attention and acceptance. And of course, if you are actually homosexual, attracted to only the same sex, well, that's bigoted. The funny thing is, at the start, it was gay rights. LGB and the T was included mostly because the T encompassed gay men who cross-dressed, who still recognized they were male and same-sex attracted. Nowadays, Pride is taken over by not just straight people, but straight people who repackage their homophobia to seem progressive and cool so that they can cosplay as being a minority, as being oppressed. Because obviously, being a victim is just a fun thing that you can add to your profile, and not a state of being that impacts pretty much everything about your life.
I went on a date with a straight man last night who asked me why my pronouns on my dating profile were she, they. In a perfect world, I would only be going on dates with people who already understand what it means to be gender nonconforming or to identify as non-binary, but I don't live in a perfect world. I live in an imperfect world with nuance. So I'm willing to go on dates with people that I need to have this conversation.
If you wanted to live in that perfect world, you could just date other queer trans activists. You could very easily just date men who believe in your religion. But it seems to me like you're not attracted to those men. You're attracted to the normal, regular guys who are not terminally online. And I think you probably enjoy getting to lecture someone about your religion. Like, it's like if Mormons decided to go ahead and date people to convert them to Mormonism.
Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I had a conversation with a straight man about being non-binary that concluded with him going, I think I might be non-binary. And I looked at him and I said, congratulations. Because I didn't really know what else to say to that, except, yeah, gender is a social construct. And if you spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it, But that was kind of the core of our conversation and something that I was really pressing upon him. You know, he was saying, well, I just think people get to be people and you should just show up and you should just be yourself. And I said, yes, I totally agree with you. But gender as a social construct and as a framework for understanding and navigating my life really got in the way of my ability to do that.
That's because you're acknowledging that misogyny and sexism exists, but you think that if you don't acknowledge that you're female, it'll go away. Instead of just being like, yes, I'm female, even if I want to just wear a tank top and shorts instead of a sundress during the summer. I'm still female even if I like working on cars instead of painting my nails. No, instead it was, I'm not a perfect stereotype of what womanhood should be, which is, by nature, derogatory and derivative. No, I'm a special human being, and therefore I have to have a special category because I'm not like other girls. Because other girls are lesser and flatter than me.
And so now that I have the language and the label and I identify as non-binary, I feel like I'm able to show up that way.
You identifying as non-binary didn't change a damn thing. You're still going out with heterosexual men. You are still attracted to the opposite sex, and everyone still sees you as female because you are female. No matter what you identify as means are not and never will be. There is no such thing as non-binary. There isn't. And the fact that you seem to think you're so righteous and well-informed and this guy seems like he has his head on straight and he's trying to explain like, yes, you could just be a woman and like whatever. And you seem to be thinking, no, you don't get it. I can't be a woman if I don't feel like what a woman's stereotype should be. I can imagine that date for this guy just being the worst. This is why I can't date people with pronouns in their profile anymore. I basically stopped online dating, period, because even the ones who seem normal always tend to turn out like this. Oh, you have short hair? Oh, well, Siren, have you considered being a trans man or gender fluid? No, I'm female, just like you. That's why I'm interested, because we're both female.
I'm able to just embrace life and shrug off gender and all of the things that it was kind of putting on me, and I'm able to just be human and show up and be myself and
The fact that you think this is somehow under the umbrella of gay rights is where the problem comes in. Because yes, you should, as a woman, be able to show up anywhere and be treated as human, as normal, as not lesser than in any way, as not being weird or a freak for liking things that are not stereotypically attached to being female. Instead, what you do is you put yourself under the queer umbrella because you're non-binary and therefore never actually address the root cause of your discomfort, which is misogyny and sexism. If you are unable to connect with other women and to identify the fact that this is a very widespread problem, that we all feel the same way, then you're never going to be able to make any progress or change anything because you think that words somehow change reality when they don't. You think that just choosing a new label will address a systematic and huge societal problem, and it won't.
If you are transgender, you have to be using that shit to your advantage. This is what I always say. We come into the world and like something is already majorly fucking wrong with us, and then we go through like shit dog dookie hell. Take that shit and make it work to your advantage. We are like 1 in a million as transgender people. Like we are fucking rare as fuck.
God, I wish that were true. But the fact that you present this as being a form of individualism, a way to make yourself special by just identifying as a certain way, as putting your experience on a pedestal and refusing to connect with other people and realizing that it's a very common experience. This is basically the crux of the issue. Not only is being trans not so rare anymore because it's a identity you can just opt into, but those who often choose to opt into transness are doing so because of belief that they are uniquely special in their suffering or their desire to be unique. And when you have that kind of self-centeredness, this narcissism, you don't play well with others. You can't let pride be about gay people because not only are we actually a minority, and not only is it something you can't opt into, I mean, sure, you can identify as a lesbian all you want or as gay, but if you're still attracted to the opposite sex, you're not. And despite how many people like to present, queerness, I'm identified to queer people, it's most of the time still heterosexual. Like you're still being straight. You just want to feel special for being straight and for being weird for whatever reason. And it's just very frustrating to me because honestly, being gay is not fun. I accept who I am and I don't want to change anything, but I can very easily see that straight women, or women who are at least attracted to men in some capacity, have an easier time living in a world that centers around a patriarchy. So, like this previous woman who spoke before this guy, there's just this self-centeredness that I think is one of the main issues we have with why being gay, the gay rights movement, and the trans rights movement can't really coexist.
Like, I was on fucking season 21 of The Voice, show with the red spinny chairs. And, like, I can sing. I know I can sing. But can I fucking sing like a lot of the people that are on The Voice? No. Fuck no. It's not like this is the whole reason I was on it or whatever, but, like, we know that TV producers love a fucking transgender storyline on reality TV. I was like, of course I'm gonna get on The Voice. I'm fucking transgender.
And here you are admitting that your transness is the reason why you were able to get a spot on the show. Not because you were talented and just happened to be transgender, but specifically because you are transgender. You have barriers lowered, and you're getting all this praise just because of how you identify. You don't get that as a gay woman or a gay man. You really don't.
Some of like the biggest videos I've made on here have been about how people were fucking transphobic to me in my life. What do? You flip it and you fucking reverse it, okay? Everyone's fucking worried about diversity and everybody's interested in hearing trans people fucking talk about their lives. Like, we go through hell for so much of our lives anyway. Like, at this point, I'm like, oh my God, I'm trans. Like, I'm so glad that I'm trans because, like, that makes me so unique. That makes me so cool. That, like, makes me so desirable for, like, all these other fucking things that I want to do in life. Do you know what I mean? Stop hating yourself and lock in.
And of course, beyond this is the fact that if you don't acknowledge the immutability of biological sex, you don't acknowledge homosexuality, because attraction is based on sex. You are attracted to one, both. You're attracted to someone's sex. And what's funny to me is, you know what, if you wanted to have your trans community and you weren't going around changing laws that made protections for women impossible, personally, I wouldn't care so much. As long as they were all fully informed adults and, they had the accurate psychological care before undergoing these surgeries. If you're an adult and you want to do something that's completely stupid and it's going to be harmful to your body, go ahead. People get plastic surgery, which I don't agree with, but if you're a fully grown adult and you've gone through the counseling, people do stupid shit all the time. My problem here is just that being gay in a trans-centered world, because being trans is now the minority that everyone is catering to, you won't let us have our own spaces. You won't let us have our own words. You get mad when we don't bow down and cater to you like so many queer activists or allies or whatever so often do. For example, I got kicked out of a gay bar because I'm trans. A local queer bar near me has nights for specific communities, sometimes so like there's gay nights, lesbian nights, and trans nights they do others too. I went to a gay night with my boyfriend a few days ago. It was really fun for the first part of the night. We were talking to some people and I mentioned that I'm a trans guy. It was relevant to the conversation. I thought the people we were talking to were cool with it, but like a little later, one of the security told me I had to leave because I'm trans and that was making other people uncomfortable. I didn't think going to a bar for gay men as a gay man would be a problem. The security guy told me I should go to the trans night instead. I just wanted to have fun with my boyfriend. I didn't mean to make anyone uncomfortable or anything. Was I in the wrong for going? I just want opinions, TBH. Why would it make anyone uncomfortable for a gay trans guy to be at a gay guy night, other than straight up blatant transphobia? How about being a homosexual? A homosexual who wants to be in a homosexual space without any females in it. And the fact that you're in a relationship with a guy means that you are, by definition, in a heterosexual relationship. So why are you at a gay guy's night? You aren't a guy, you aren't gay. The self-centeredness of, my feelings are so hurt, I didn't mean to make anyone uncomfortable, but you did, and you don't care because your feelings are hurt, and that takes precedence over everyone else's comfort and safety, right? And it's frustrating as all hell that even, especially in online spaces, you can't be just straight up homosexual. For example, I just typed in lesbian just to find most subs here called lesbian are porn subs for men. Get this, there used to be a sub called True Lesbians that was aimed at biological gay women, since the other lesbian subs are not. It was just gay women talking about gay stuff. It got shut down, but Dyke Conversion and all these others remain. And then the mod said, this was removed for transphobia. Acknowledging biological sex and that homosexuality is based on biological sex is transphobia. So being a gay woman who is only interested in other women is transphobic. Not caring about men is transphobic. It's bigotry. It's a crime. And then the impact of this, of course, is that there are plenty of gay people who think that identifying as trans and then therefore being quote unquote straight is an easier path, both for acceptance by the queer community and even by just the regular world at large. For example,
Jet, do you have more thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to say something about like something you both said about like the love thing. Like it ties into the love thing and also sexuality. So I had never really had a crush on anyone before I went on puberty blockers. I'd never met any gay person before I went on puberty blockers. Never met a lesbian. And then I went on puberty blockers, and then while I was on puberty blockers, I met a lesbian girl, and I knew I liked her, but I was just, I didn't have any feelings for her. Like I didn't want to kiss her. I didn't have any sexual feelings because I was on blockers. I knew I liked her, and it just wasn't making any sense. And then I went on testosterone, and that sort of gave me a libido, but it wasn't my own sexuality. My own hormone cycle was suppressed. I didn't have my own sexuality. And so I knew I was in love with this girl, but I wasn't experiencing actual attraction to her. And like you do need that sexual attraction when you're crushing on someone. It's important also in the context of love. And then like what you said about like what this does to someone's body, I think it's a human rights violation to take that from a child because, like I said, I had no sexual experience before I went on blockers at 16. I had no experience with my body, none whatsoever. And then I went on blockers, testosterone, and both ruined my sexuality. Testosterone ruined my genitals. And only after quitting testosterone and like my body recovering, only at the age of 22 have I experienced healthy genitals and non-painful orgasms, and that sexuality is actually nice. While for those 6 years between age 16 and 22, I thought sexuality was gross. I thought my body was gross. My genitals hurt. Orgasms hurt. I didn't want to be with anyone. I was ashamed of my body. And like I said, I wasn't actually crushing on anyone in a normal way. Nothing made any sense.
Looking back on that, how did you process the? Was there frustration, or was it just cluelessness about why these feelings are going on? What do I do with these feelings? Seems like it seems like with that crush, you had desire, but it could only go so far. So
I felt blocked.
You felt blocked.
Even when I was on testosterone, I felt blocked because I knew I liked her, but I did not even have, like, she would, maybe a bit much, but like she would try to kiss me, and I would be like, well, I like her, so I should be enjoying this, but it wasn't doing anything to me. I would kiss her, and it just nothing happened. While I knew I liked her, and I was like obsessed with her, but my own sexuality wasn't there. And I now know the difference because I now have my own hormone cycle and I have my own sexuality, and just everything is different. And now I understand what other people experience, and now it's like, oh, now I get it.
It's I've heard many stories such as yours, and I just can't get my head around. I can't get my head around it. But thank you for sharing.
It's not just transing the gay away, it's also the pressure on homosexual people to pretend that sexual attraction is based on what you say it is. It's based on pronouns. If you say you're a she, her, regardless of how male you are, you're supposed to react to that with, oh yes, I have a capacity for attraction to you. And not only just the lip service, but if you genuinely turn them down, they still go ahead and go, you're a TERF, you're transphobic. What are you supposed to do with that if you're in a community that's supposed to be for you, but everyone is turned against you? When all the celebrations, all the conversation is never never about being homosexual. It's always centered on how you can best cater to those who call themselves trans.
Oh, but I'm only attracted to cis people. It's not transphobic, it's just a preference. You can't call me transphobic.
It's not a preference, it's a prerequisite. I am incapable of feeling sexual or romantic attraction to men, and I, like many lesbians out there, have tried, have explored, have tried so desperately to fit into what a woman is supposed to be, just to realize that it was nothing more than self-harm, that no matter how hard you try, you can't look at even the most feminine of men and think that that is a woman, that you can feel anything for that person.
Okay, here's the catch. 1. If it leads to transphobic behaviour, it's transphobic.
You don't see any other minority group saying that if you don't fuck me, you are blank phobic. You don't see black people, black activists saying to white people, if you won't have sex with me, then you're a racist. You don't see gay people going, if you don't have sex with me, you're homophobic. Because there's a recognition that you don't have to have sex with someone to care about them or their cause. You are allowed to be an ally without using your body as a validation machine, and no one but you guys expects that. Though I suppose at this point it has spread beyond just the trans community to the queer community, because you have those who are radiqueers who think that being fat or being disabled in some way means that you have a right to request sexual attention. But I would say that still all falls under the queer umbrella.
2. If you start demanding that we out ourselves for your convenience in rationing conversation, it's transphobic.
Most of you don't have to out yourselves because you can tell by looking or listening. We have the ability to perceive you, and it's very obvious looking with and interacting with you guys that you are trans. And even if I don't know if you are male to female or female to male, doesn't matter. The fact that you believe in a regressive, misogynistic, homophobic ideology is a turnoff all by itself.
3. If you were transphobic to begin with, and you're bringing this out as some kind of post hoc retcon justification, it's transphobic.
Acknowledging biological sex is transphobic. Jesus Christ, at this point, what, is the sky transphobic because it's blue? You call everything you don't like transphobic just because it hurts your feelings. Get over yourself.
But other than that, you do you, 'cause trust me, we don't want to.
The dike breaking, turf breaking, pretty much every lesbian subreddit, all those posts in the homosexual subreddits, they all say otherwise. Homosexuality, the gay rights movement, cannot coexist with the trans rights movement because at its core, you refuse to acknowledge reality. You refuse to acknowledge that biological sex exists and that sexuality is based on biological sex. And so you basically have found a way to hide the fact that many of you are homophobic, and you're upset because gay people won't validate the fact that you are not the gender you want to be. You are not the sex you want to be. You will and always will remain what you were born as. And so we get posts like this. Sadly, a lot of gay men are very transphobic. Most gay spaces I've personally found are against transphobia, but the bad ones are really bad. As in, they see us, even fully transitioned stealth bros, as women because of our natal genitalia and the reverse for trans women. There's a common belief in the toxic gay spaces that if you're attracted to a trans man, you're bi, because gay men don't like pussy. They aren't homosexual, but dick-sexual. Yeah, that's what freaking homosexual means. Same-sex attracted. You have to have been born with a penis to be male. Even no matter how many hormones you take, how many surgeries you get, you're always going to remain female. I don't know why it hurts you so much to hear that. And personally, I don't care. But I'm tired of it. I'm tired of pretending that we can coexist and that we have anything in common. And of course, beyond this.
It's like every single day, you guys, and this is what I complain about all the time. Look, what's his name? What's your name?
My name's
Alex?
Tommy.
Yeah, your name's Alex, and I'm gonna be talking to your manager. This guy called me sir. This happens every day. Everywhere I go, I get called sir. I'm so tired. Why would you call a chick big ass? Why would you call?
I didn't say.
No, stop trying to gaslight trans people and tell us that we're crazy. Wait, what? Did you call me sir again? What was that? You said goodnight, sir? This is transphobic harassment.
Oh my
You're a bigot at work. All right, Alex, you know what? I can't wait to just It's a slur. Do you not understand?
You heard it here first, folks. Sir is a slur. And of course, when you have so many videos like this out there, where trans-identified males especially are out there harassing employees, harassing strangers because they won't pretend, they won't bow down to their religion. What happens is most people, the ones who are not online, who are not aware of this issue because it just hasn't affected them yet, those are the ones who continue to lump LGB with the T. They don't see these as separate issues. They don't see us at odds. They see us all under one umbrella of crazy. And that's why in the past couple years, the acceptance and support of gay rights has gone down drastically, because what is representing us is behavior like this. This gets all the news attention. This is what gets put on every news station, which gets retweeted and reblogged or whatever on every social media platform. Not the common sense people who just say, hey, I want homosexuality to be no more surprising or different or cool than having curly hair or brown eyes. Nope, because being sane, first off, isn't entertaining enough, I guess. And two, it's not going to sell you stuff. Because if you're trans, you got to buy all these new surgeries and hormones and clothes and, of course, the flags. Who could forget the godforsaken flags?
It's like if you call the person of color the N-word. Don't.
No, it would be like calling a white person who said, I'm black, I'm super black. You have to believe that I'm black, a white person. No one thinks that. No one except delusional people like you thinks that a slur, a legitimate slur, a word that has been paired with violence for hundreds of years towards a subjugated group, is the same thing as calling an actual male sir. And even if you were misgendered, I've been mistaken for a boy plenty of times. And you know what I do about it? Nothing. Because it was A, a mistake, and B, I don't give a shit. It doesn't change anything. You don't have to acknowledge me as female for me to continue being female. But you do have to acknowledge trans people as being trans, or else they'll start to think and realize that, oh no, all the surgeries and hormones didn't do anything. And all those other people are lying, and it puts them into this stupid spiral, which, again, is not our problem. It's not my problem. I'm not required to validate you. I'm not required to worship at your altar of gender. No one is. I'm tired of these stupid colors overtaking the actual gay pride flag. I'm tired of this being the subject of every conversation on LGBTQIA conversations, because you know what? Everything after the B has nothing to do with me. I'm tired of being called a bigot for the sexuality I do not choose and cannot change. I'm tired of being pressured into heterosexual relationships under the pretense of curing my bigotry and being inclusive. I'm tired of pretending that you are not homophobic at your core, and I am so freaking tired of being talked down to like I'm a child, like I'm an idiot who just hasn't educated herself well enough, by people who just want to pressure me into being straight. I'm tired of it.
Or it is transphobia.
Hey, it's monkey explanation time. If monkey, not like...
Oh my god, so tell me you've never spent any time with a real-life trans person without telling me you've never spent any time with a real-life trans person.
Oh my god, tell me you're a homophobic bigot without telling me you're a homophobic bigot. I spend time with trans people. I've seen what you read. I've seen what you write. I've seen how you act. I've interacted with you. And it is from my experiences with people like you that I am 100% certain, no matter how well you think you pass, no matter how much you think identifying as is the same thing as being, you are not like me and never will be. This, dear viewers, is where we part. I know that quite a few of people in my audience are homosexual or bisexual, and I'm sure you get exactly what I'm going on about here. This is one of the reasons why I hate Pride Month so much. Even if I was in a space that was catered towards gay people, about having a population of homosexuals in one space to congregate, I know that it's not actually going to happen. There is no coexisting while the trans rights movement exists, because all it has done is allowed a minority to co-opt the identity politics, the value of being a victim, and use it against us in homophobia, as always, to make us shut up and fall in line. Well, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the racism. I'm tired of the homophobia. I'm tired of this conversation. If you've been following J.K. Rowling since the very beginning, her early tweets, her early messages were very kindly worded, I try not to offend anyone, and nowadays, Not so much. They're a lot harsher, straight to the point. Still not cruel, but I get it. Because the same thing happened to me. I started out in the beginning of this channel with trying to be educational and trying to be perfectly kind and avoiding any kind of hurt feelings, but you can only go on being a stone in this river of ignorance and stupidity for so long. I don't have the patience anymore to pretend otherwise. I don't have the kindness in my soul to be anything other than perfunctually kind. The same kindness I would give to any person on the value of being human. But I'm not going to bow down to your religion. I'm not going to play nice so your feelings don't get hurt. I'm going to speak the truth, because that is a hell of a lot more important than your feelings. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.